What is an envelope? An envelope is the shape of the volume of a sound over time. This is achieved by multiplying the output of a sound from 0 to 1. So at multiplying it by 1, you have the full volume of this sine wave. By decreasing the number, you decrease the volume. Increasing it makes it louder again. Having an object to automate this can add some expressionality and fix a problem that I will go into right now. Here I have my MIDI keyboard connected to a rect object that is then going into my speakers. If I play some notes on my MIDI keyboard, I would like you to notice the clickiness that is caused. That clickiness is due to the sound instantly going from 0 to 1. That isn't the most pleasant sound, so we can fix that and add some musical expressionality that mimics acoustic instruments by adding an envelope. I have two ways of creating an envelope here. The first is with this function object connected to a line object. We then take the output of this line object and then it goes to our rect object and then multiplied out. This function object will spit out a number over time that follows the shape of this pattern right here. Now if I press a note on my MIDI keyboard, it now ramps up into the note, holds it for a bit, and then releases it. You can also change aspects of this by changing it on the function object itself. There are two downsides for my application of this. The first is if I were to hold down a note. Even though I'm still holding down the note, it has finished going all across the function and is now at 0. So that's not the most ideal when I want more control than that with my keyboard. The second is this graphical interface for the function isn't the easiest to work with in my case where I'm trying to limit the use of mouse and keyboard for my project. So that brings us to the ADSR object. ADSR stands for attack, decay, sustain, release. And that pretty much describes this shape. Attack is the time in milliseconds to reach the full volume of the sound. Decay is the time in milliseconds to decrease to the sustained value. The sustained value is from 0 to 1. It is the percentage of the full loudness it will sustain at until you give it a release message. The release message is then sent by releasing the key, and then the time in milliseconds to go from the sustained volume down to 0 is the release time. Now if I play some notes on my keyboard, this is what it sounds like through the ADSR. And if I hold the note down, it's only once I release the note that it will start going down to 0. I'll change some parameters to show you how it affects the sound. I'm going to bring up the release time by quite a bit to show one of the issues with using an ADSR object. If I were to press and then release a note and then press another note before it's done releasing, it cuts off the release of the other note due to this being a monophonic setup. I will explain the fix to that in the multi-channel objects section. I'm doing one last thing here, which is after I multiply the ADSR with the rect, I am then multiplying it by a velocity value that is given by my MIDI keyboard. That's pretty much just how hard I press down on the key. And then by multiplying that value after the ADSR, that gives me a velocity control, which means that I can press on the keyboard lightly to get a quiet sound and then press harder to get a louder sound. So here is me pressing hard, and then this is quiet.